So this year marked the 50th anniversary of Woodstock, 1969's Woodstock. And I'm not talking about Woodstock 94, I'm not talking about, God forbid, I talk about Woodstock 99. Not talking about the ill-fated 50th anniversary concert festival that was supposed to happen. God bless Michael Lang's heart, one of the original organizers. That's a video in of itself. I'm talking about the one and only Woodstock, the one that matters. Because you can't repeat history. You can't plan what was originally unplanned. Woodstock became an obsession with me. It became an obsession when I grabbed a hold of my father's triple vinyl album back in the day. I believe I was in first grade when my grandfather happened to give it to me in a stack of records that belonged to my father's, because I wanted something to play. The cover intrigued me, the couple hugging on top of the hill at Yasgur's farm, the famous photo. The cover intrigued me, and I saw the title, music from the original soundtrack and more, so I knew it was a movie at some point. Didn't know it was a concert, a festival. I didn't know 500,000 people, 3 days of peace and music. Over the course of that early 80s, I got to know more about it. My grandparents on my mom's side, it was a bunch of people who got together and did a lot of drugs. Bad people doing bad things. A lot of people were on dope there. It was my grandparents. But my parents saw the movie when it came out. And I remember at a third grade talent show, I played the drum solo to Soul Sacrifice. The album version, which I didn't know at the time was edited. I first saw the movie on PBS in 1985, the local Chicago PBS station, Channel 11 WTTW. I did a rock doc video a couple years ago on Woodstock, so my thoughts on the movie I have there. And to me, it's one of my favorite films, it's one of my favorite documentaries. There's a reason that movie actually did win the Oscar for Best Documentary Feature in 1970. And it's startling, one of the few times the Oscars got that right. But I didn't realize how Michael Wadleigh's epic film was primarily a myth-making deal. Michael Wadleigh's film is a beautiful, epic film, sort of a Cecil B. DeMille, The Ten Commandments, or Ben-Hur on acid is what it is. And I didn't realize how much was manipulated for that film, as far as the running order, when the rainstorm happened, the dubbed-in crowd rain chant, the dubbed-in F-cheer during Country Joe McDonald. Rhino this issued several new sets celebrating the 50th anniversary of Woodstock. There's a 3 CD set, there's a 10 CD set, which I managed to get at a decent price. And there was a whopping 38 CD set, limited edition. The definitive edition has booklet in there by Michael Lang, posters, everything. But what they did, the 10 CD set is the first time every single band, including Blood, Sweat and Tears, including the band, including Creedence, Johnny Winter, everybody is included in that 10 CD set, in chronological order, including the stage announcements. The 38 CD set is the most comprehensive, featuring the complete sets of every band, stage announcements in chronological order. It was immediately sold out, like that. I wonder where a lot of them went. I see a lot of eBay sellers selling it for $1,000 to $2,000, $3,000 even. I managed to get the 38 CD set. That's all I'm going to say. But WXPN in Philadelphia did the 38 CD set on the actual days of the 50th anniversary, August 15, 16, 17. So there it began Thursday, Friday, Saturday, ending Sunday morning. 2 weekends ago, the week that it happened originally. They did a Woodstock as it happened in chronological. So 5:05 Eastern Time, they started with Richie Havens. When a break happened and there was nothing else, they continued on with the break. The whole thing was put together by archivist Andy Zaks and mixed by Brian Kehoe. If you're a Beatle maniac, you know who Brian Kehoe is. And they did something really amazing with the 38 CD set and the 10 CD set. They tell a different story. As much as I love the Michael Wadleigh film, as much as it's one of my favorite films, my obsession with Woodstock now is one that is grounded in a certain type of reality now, which before it was 70 millimeter widescreen epic, and it's now this sort of mass chaos that could have gone off the rails at any time. It's now more of a field recording. It's now more historical. I'm probably not articulating it the way I really want to, so forgive me. But when I heard everything, starting with Richie Havens, followed by Sweetwater, followed by Bert Sumner, followed by Tim Hardin, the whole first day, and keeping it on in the middle of the night in case I woke up and I caught Creedence on Friday night going into Saturday, the way they presented it, and then staying up and hearing all of Janis at 1 a.m, my time. It tells you a different story. Hearing it in chronological order, hearing the stage announcements, hearing all of that stuff. Andy Zaks did something for us fans who wanted to really know what was going on. He told a different story. You're hearing stage announcements, you're hearing stage banter during this stuff. You're hearing chaos happening on the stage. You're hearing them talk about the stage announcements, what they should talk about, what they shouldn't. You're hearing at the end of Melanie's set, the first night, the incredible string band saying they don't want to go on. They were supposed to follow Melanie before Arlo Guthrie. And you hear them negotiating on stage when they're going to go on. You hear John Morris, the announcer, one of the masters of ceremony, and the production coordinator saying, why don't you do some of your early songs? Well, we don't play them anymore, we don't know them, and the girls aren't involved in those songs either because they added two females to the group. Hearing that chaos. How many times Chip Monk and John Morris are telling people to get off the damn towers, and people are ignoring them. And it's not just, it becomes more and more forceful. You're hearing the rumors going through the crowd about the food, the lack of food, and how one of the vendors, the Food for Love people, started to overcharge people. And how a political group that was there, known as the Motherfuckers, wanted to politicize the event and started to try to start a riot with the Food for Love people. And how they had to calm that situation. Some of the stage announcements got me in the whole thing in real time. One of them was a little girl, 3 years old, on Saturday, was lost. If you're the parents of this girl, please go to the medical tent. Originally she was at the hog farm and she was very upset and hysterical that she couldn't find her parents. I hope to God that she was found. That's stuff that is missing from the movie. Stuff like that. All these calls for insulin. People who need their medicine. And it wasn't just brown acid, which the movie shows the brown acid announcement happening early. Brown acid announcement didn't happen until late Saturday. But there was the flat blue acid. There was the green acid. There were all these other different chemicals that may have been dangerous. So that's one of the things that the movie doesn't address. There were other things there that could have made this thing really go bad. Not only that, and again, I love the movie. I think it's a masterpiece, and it's, like Roger Ebert said, it's one of the great American documentaries and one of the great American films. you listen to some of these performances of bands who are forgotten that played there. Sweetwater had a very shaky performance as the second act. But man, they got some energy. A guy by the name of Bert Sumner followed them. He was in Hair on Broadway, and if you have the cast recording of Hair, that's him on the cover. At least that's his hair anyways. Great singer-songwriter. He got the first real standing ovation at Woodstock. You hear the crowd reception to him, especially his encore of Simon & Garfunkel's America. And the massive crowd swell. Why wasn't he in the film? Had Wadley included him, he would have been as famous as maybe Richie Havens. Or whoever came out. Or whoever else came out from the movie, like Santana. Quill, a band called Quill, opened Saturday. I hear that performance now, it's totally rocking. They could have been famous. And on the other hand, you have people like John Fogerty who didn't want the Creedence set, Creedence Clearwater Revival, one of the highlights of Saturday night. Sometimes hindsight messes with your memory. And as much as I love Creedence, and as much as I've loved John Fogerty and stood by him with the legalities over the years, I really do think he was full of shit. Because his description of Woodstock is not what I'm hearing on the undoctored tapes. And that crowd is with them. They are rocking the shit out of that place. Yeah, the Grateful Dead took their time. But nobody talks about how during the Grateful Dead set, their sound man blew everything on stage. So they had to wait for the power to get back on. And you hear the chaos on the tapes when that's happened. You hear the crowd start chanting, music, 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 music. Always teetering on that edge. This thing could have become Altamont. But man, something that Michael Lang, I think, forgot with this 50th anniversary stuff that he was trying to do. You can't recreate what happened by sheer damn luck. And the time. And the type of event that it was. It just didn't happen. 500,000 people pulled the damn thing off. They kept it together. They were teetering on the edge a couple times, but they kept it together. You can't do that again. You just cannot do that again. If you manage to hear the 38 CD set by whatever means you can, I encourage you to do it because it is a really good historical document of a historical event. If you can get your hands on the 10 CD set, go ahead and do that. Either way, your eyes will probably be open more and have a greater respect for what really happened on Max Yasgur's farm 50 years ago in 1969. Thank you very much. Be safe. And I'll talk to you soon.